Hey, what's going on, everyone? I hope all of you guys are doing well, and welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing The Mighty Ducks, one of my favorite sports films, and a film that I grew up with. I'm sure a lot of you who grew up in the 90s, watched this movie. And as of late, I kind of been on a old nostalgia Disney kick. I've been watching a lot of like the Disney Channel original movies. Just rewatched Smart House recently and the Mighty Duck films. I also ended up watching Xenon, um, which is one of my favorite films growing up. I think that's one out of the Disney Channel original movies. Xenon, The Girl of the 21st Century, and Halloween Town are the only two successful movies because they both ended up getting sequels. Halloween Town being, more successful than Xenon, with having three sequels, where Xenon ended up having two. But from what I know, they're like the only two Disney films that have more than one film, or more than two films. And I believe there was a Lawrence Brother Disney Channel original movie that ended up actually having two movies. One of the movies they had ended up having a sequel. I think it might have been Horse Sense, and then Jumping Ship or something like that was the sequel, give or take. But yeah, once in a while, Disney would have successful movies, but I haven't seen any other Disney Channel original movie back in the 90s have something like that, or early 2000s. I know Under Wraps, the new remake, ended up getting a sequel. I don't know why they decided to remake that and give it a sequel. I may have to give it a watch. I don't know, but I love the original. But yeah, The Mighty Ducks, I believe it was released in 1992, stars Emilio Estevez, which, Emilio Estevez has had a successful career in the 80s and the 90s, and I think he's really well known for this film and the trilogy itself. Even though the third film, he doesn't have a whole lot, I think in total, maybe 20 minutes of screen time, give or take. But yeah, just he when you think of his name, you think, of course, of the Mighty Duck films. So Emilio Estevez plays Gordon Bombay. He is this very successful lawyer, and well, he ends up getting pulled over after driving drunk, and he is sent to community service by basically coaching a pee-wee hockey team. And at first, he's completely against it, but throughout the film, he starts to open up, and the kids end up, taking on this rival team that Gordon Bombay used to be on when he was those kids' age, and the coach was actually the same coach that Gordon had when he was younger. And it's one of those underdog movies where you have these group of misfit kids who come together and become this successful hockey team taking on the rival team, which of course would be the ongoing theme um, for the two sequels later on. And yeah, it's just a fun, light-hearted film. Ended up having really well-known cast members at the time. Not at, some at the time, some not so, but would eventually go on to become big stars like Joshua Jackson, who I think after the first three movies, he'd go on to do Dawson's Creek, and then eventually do Fringe, as well as some movies like Urban Legends, to be a prime example. So yeah, his filmography has been really, really good. He also was in, I think, the first or maybe all three Skull movies. I think Paul Walker was in that as well. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember if Paul Walker was in those, but I know he was. Joshua Jackson was. And you all at least in the first film, you do have Danny Temporelli, who'd go on to do Pete and Pete. Of course, he would do I think the second, third, maybe fourth season of all that. And then, of course, the sequels would eventually get Kenan Thompson, all that, Kenan and Kel, and a slew of films like Good Burger. So yeah, so the Mighty Ducks kind of started the careers of some. I think Kenan Thompson at the time the second Mighty Ducks was out. That was kind of the same time All That was out, because I think that came out in '94. So All That I think premiered in '94, give or take. Might be '93. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know it was around the same time. So, um, but yeah, it's just a really fun movie. The kids, the chemistry between the kids and Emilio Estevez, I think works great. I like how they try to recruit all these different players with all these different backgrounds, like a brother and sister. What are they, like a figure skating? Siblings, and the girl that they get, who they try to convince that um, hockey's like figure skating but with a stick. I think this is what they try to play. The actress kind of looks like the same actress who would go on and be in the film Jumanji, who played the older uh, the girl that when Robin Williams' character was younger before he got sucked into the board game. That girl, I think it might be the same actress. I don't know, but she looked just like her. So I'm not 100% sure on that. And there's a few cast members, or not cast members, a few characters in the first film who did not go on to the second film. Only a select few ended up doing it, and that's one thing I find interesting about the Mighty Ducks trilogy in general, is how a lot of the cast members, you had a select few who went on to do all three movies, while some others kind of just, that was their one and done. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, I think Emilio Estevez is great in this. I wasn't really too familiar with his stuff, when I was younger, other than The Breakfast Club. I mean, The Breakfast Club is such an iconic '80s comedy drama, and to see him go from that to this, I thought was pretty cool. And just, I think looking back, he fits the character perfectly. I don't think if they went to go with somebody else, I don't think it would have worked. So it was nice to see him, kind of, you know, uh, take on this role, make it his own. And you could definitely tell that. And like I said, I think all the kids are great, and it's crazy to look back and realize that this movie launched the careers for a lot of them. And others, I don't think they do a whole lot. And the interesting thing too is, like, a lot of these actors will go on to do films that are like the straight to home video releases. So a lot of times you're not going to know that they're in other projects unless you look at the cast. 'Cause sometimes you'll recognize the face. But yeah, it's just a fun hockey film. It really got my start into hockey and just roller skating in general. And I miss those sports related type films like this. I mean, there's still films continue to be made, but you don't see hockey as much as you used to. I think like 2004, around 2004, between 2004 and 2006, you'd get some sports films like hockey, football, and stuff like that, but not, I feel like we get more basketball, more football, and baseball movies than we do hockey. I think hockey needs more movies like this. But yeah, I miss the good old days of sports related films. It just sucks that they don't make them like they used to. And the coach to the rival team that Gordon Bombay has to go against is actually the actor who plays the father in Son-in-Law, and he also plays is it Percy White in the Superman comics? He's in Lois and Clark: The New Adventure of Superman. He's in that. So yeah, so I think he did this before he did that, and I think he did before he did Son-in-Law as well. So yeah, it's nice to see him in other things other than what we're all we all recognize him in. But yeah, I wish I could say more about this film, but to just sum it up, it's a good time lawyer who, ends up drinking and driving, gets in trouble, and gets sentenced to community service so he can, basically he has to coach a Pee Wee hockey team. So, yeah, there you have it. So thank you guys so much for this review of some sort for the Mighty Ducks. If you've seen this movie, let me know what your thoughts are. It would be much appreciated. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. If you enjoyed the review, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. And with that being said, I'm Film Talk with Mikey, and until next time, guys, we'll talk films. I'll see you soon. Peace.